A school year unlike any other. As the fall semester winds down, we're looking ahead to spring. Parents and students are again weighing in-person versus virtual classes. Tonight, Knox County Schools is answering your questions live. From quality of education on different platforms to keeping students and staff healthy and evaluating performance. The answers you need to keep kids connected.
Straight from the heart of East Tennessee, this is 10 News at 5.
Good evening and welcome to this special half hour dedicated to keeping kids connected. Parents, students, teachers, and administrators continue to navigate an unprecedented school year with never before seen challenges tied to the pandemic. And another big decision awaits thousands of families in East Tennessee next week. Knox County Schools will allow students to change learning models for the spring semester. Enrollment for more than 60,000 students begins Monday. Families who want to stay the same, do nothing. About 1/3 or upwards of 18,000 students opted to start the year online, and families who want to change their learning model at home or in school must do so between October 26th and November 6th. Requests to change will be done online, and many of you have sent us questions about this school year. And joining us tonight, a veteran of the Knox County school system, Superintendent Bob Thomas. Not only is he superintendent, he has a history in this district of more than 40 years. A student, a teacher, a principal, an administrator, and now superintendent for 3 years. Superintendent Thomas, we appreciate your time, and I want to get straight to the questions we've heard about the dire warning about learning loss tied to this school year, especially from the state in younger grades. What has been your personal observation from teachers and parents? Are kids in Knox County learning as much as they would in a typical year?
I think, first of all, just the way we started out, and by the way, good afternoon, John. It's great to be here with you, and thank you so much for this opportunity. Teachers started out by assessing the learning loss, and I know over the past 9 weeks, teachers have been working really hard to identify what that loss has been, and then also to work really hard to help students to catch up. I had a teacher advisory council meeting just yesterday afternoon, and it's about 21, 22 teachers, and happy to report teachers felt like students were making a lot of progress, especially in person, virtually. They're making progress as well, but there's some challenges with the virtual learning. I'm sure we'll probably talk about that before the session's over, but I know the state has been pretty adamant about testing, and I understand that. They want to know this spring, be able to use this year as a benchmark. Let's see where we are. The governor did make a recommendation. I hope the legislature will entertain this idea to not tie student assessment to teacher evaluation this year, because it's just a different year, and being in the pandemic like we are. So I hope the legislature will entertain that idea and actually approve that. But I know our teachers are working really hard to not only make up for the summer slide, which you experienced, but also those last 2.5 months of school that we did not have last school year.
Another big picture question, Superintendent. You talk about some of the short-term things that you've learned from teachers. The long-term impact of this, is this something that students can make up in the next few months, or will it take a year or two, do you think?
I think we're going to make a lot of progress this year. Again, the teachers that I talked with yesterday felt good about the progress that they were making, and may have started out a little bit slow, but I think things have picked up as everyone is getting used to going to school in a very non-traditional way with masks and temperature checks and physical distancing and things of that nature. So I'm sure it'll vary probably with students. Some students are going to be probably get there faster than other students, like you would see in a normal classroom setting. But I feel confident that our students are going to make up for the lost learning, and we're going to be okay. It was it's been something to go through, obviously, and school looks a whole lot different this year than it's ever looked for all of us. So I just appreciate our students, our teachers, our principals, our parents, just the whole community for the grace and the patience that they've given us as we have worked through this first 9 weeks. And you know, I'm not sure, you know, it's really gone better than we expected. To be able to sit here this afternoon and say we finished 9 weeks of school is pretty incredible. We were the largest school district, I believe, to start school with in-person and also virtual learning. And I don't know if you remember or not, the governor did come a couple of weeks ago and visited Knox County and seemed very pleased with what he was able to see with both the in-person instruction that was taking place and also teachers teaching virtually.
Another big,
so just really pleased.
I'm sorry to interrupt you.
Sorry,
I know a lot of people are celebrating that. Would have lost a lot of bets thinking that everybody would have gone virtual by now. Superintendent, on that question, one parent is asking, do you feel virtual students are learning as much as in-person students, yes or no?
Yes or no. It's probably a little more complicated than yes or no, but no, I don't believe all students are learning equally well with virtual learning. It takes self-discipline, it takes motivation, and I think our students that are very highly disciplined and motivated are doing extremely well. I do worry about students who are academically challenged. We have seen a large percent of our academically challenged students enroll in the virtual program. So my biggest concern this year is the fact that with academically challenged students being enrolled in the virtual program, that we're going to see achievement gaps widen. You know, one of our goals, the board's goals, is to eliminate disparities. You know, we have disparities from a discipline standpoint, disparities from an academic standpoint, and I'm bothered that possibly those academic gaps will widen for students who are in the virtual program. So my hope is that parents will give a lot of consideration starting, well, hopefully they've done it over the last 3 weeks, but starting Monday when they're able to enroll, that they've given a lot of consideration to bringing their student
We
who
lost
have
it.
said, gosh, the superintendent must.
We lost you there for
the superintendent must not think. Oh, okay. I'm sorry. Where'd you lose me?
No.
I was talking
just want
about some of our.
We have to go to a quick break, Superintendent. If you'll hang on with us, I'll pick up on that line of questioning when we come back. All right, also, we'll take a closer look at the Quest program as well, and what might it look like in the spring. More of our conversation with the superintendent. Also, keeping in-person learners safe from COVID-19, some health questions as well. A closer look at the quarantine process when we come back. We're back with our live conversation with Knox County School Superintendent Bob Thomas. Again, Superintendent, thank you for being here. Before we get to teachers, I want to ask this question that a lot of parents are asking. Would you send your child to school right now? Do you think that's safe to do it? And can you assure parents at home that that is a safe thing to do?
Yes, yes, I absolutely would send my child to school. I think we're obviously we've put into place all the safety precautions that we can possibly take with the temperature checks, with the social physical distancing as much as possible, requiring a mask to be worn. So the hand washing, sanitizing. Even with our HVAC systems, I know we turn over the air approximately 3 times an hour, you know, with our HVAC systems when the buildings are occupied. So I certainly would send my child to school and feel that my child would be taken care of and would be safe.
You mentioned teachers, Superintendent. Any updates on retaining teachers for the spring semester? Do you feel like those numbers will be 100% or at least close?
I feel like there will be. Right now, we had about 52 to 54 teachers who took a leave of absence for this first semester, and we're now gathering information back from them, the ones that are coming back. We've had a few to submit a resignation, but I think those have been primarily so that they could provide child care for their children who are learning in the virtual program. So I feel pretty sure that most of our teachers are going to come back, and I don't anticipate losing teachers. I know it's been an extremely difficult and demanding year for them, and I know they're fatigued. Fall break last week came at a really good time, and I think our teachers took advantage of that and got some rest and relaxed a little bit, and hopefully came back with more energy. So I feel pretty confident that our teaching force is going to stay in place. So we would always like to, back in the summer, when we were starting this, we did face a shortage with hiring teachers, just the teachers not available out there. So we had to do a few different things, I guess, to make sure that we could get our classes covered. But I feel confident that our teachers will be back. And again, they have worked really hard, extremely hard, and put their student needs before their needs and even their families' needs, which I've had to talk with teachers a little bit about. Take care of yourself. It's important that self-care is important for you, because we need you here for your students and your families.
Our hats are certainly off to them. We're going to take another quick break. Superintendent Bob Thomas with us to talk more about safety and also the Quest program. Some parents with questions about that. We're back right after this. Knox County Schools is reporting 2 benchmarks in red: custodial staff and substitutes, teachers, staff attendance yellow, student attendance, bus service and cafeteria attendance are in green, and the district is reporting 77 total active cases of COVID-19 right now. And I must say, big picture, that is extraordinarily low. Superintendent Thomas joining us once again. If you consider that there are upwards of 70,000 students and teachers, not to mention staff inside our schools, 77 total active cases right now is pretty extraordinary. But on that front, Superintendent, a question from one parent who says they are concerned about the quarantine process. 24 days, even after testing negative multiple times. Why can't the student who tested negative come back before the quarantine period is over?
Well, my understanding is that I guess from the infection standpoint, it could happen anywhere in between those 14 days. So it could happen on the 14th day. And I know folks are upset about it, and I certainly understand that when you have to keep your child home for that length of time and you have a job and all. But we're following the guidelines from the CDC and also from our health department. Dr. Buchanan and her team do an excellent job. I think sometimes what gets lost in that is how many active cases would we have had we not quarantined, because we have seen some students who are quarantined, and staff for that matter, develop COVID at the time while they're quarantined. So I know it's a challenge for parents and for our employees as well. But again, I think for the safety of our students and staff, the best thing that we can do right now is to follow the CDC guidelines and the guidelines provided by our local health department.
And Superintendent, will the schools still encourage staff and students to wear masks even if that's not part of a county recommendation? Yes, we will. Again, from the CDC and the information that from the medical professionals, that wearing a mask is one of the best things that you can do to help slow the spread, prevent the spread, mitigate the spread. So our intention is to continue to require masks, students and employees, for the remainder of this semester, and then also the next semester as well. We're going to continue our conversation. We have to take another quick break right here on 10 News, but we're back with more of our live conversation and answers to your question with the superintendent. We'll talk about the Quest program, why younger students are enrolled this semester, and what it could look like in the spring. We are back live on 10 News with Knox County School Superintendent Bob Thomas. Our discussion now moves to the Quest program. That online platform includes both live and virtual instruction, work to complete on your own time as well, or asynchronous instruction. Superintendent, why are younger students in that program that's intended for high school students?
Well, preferably the younger students would not be in that program, but the situation we were faced with when we started the virtual program too was a shortage of teachers. We tried to hire teachers. Ideally, you would have teachers in front of the elementary students all the time. But we still wanted to honor what we told parents, that we would provide virtual and in person. So we had to rely on Quest. I think in the elementary, I believe there's about 8,100 students in the virtual program, and I think maybe there's about 800 students that are on Quest. So there's been some mixed reactions to that from the standpoint, and I think some parents feel like it's too much work, and some parents feel like it's not enough work. So we're going to look at that. I'm not sure what the spring's going to look like. We'll know a whole lot more after November 6th when we see what the shift might be in enrollment. But we also had to have to maintain teacher-pupil ratios, so that factored into putting students into the Quest program as well. It's better received at the high school level, obviously, with students are more independent learners, but we do have about 10% of the elementary students in the program, and I think in middle school, roughly about 100 students out of the 5,000 students that are in the middle school virtual program. So definitely a challenge. We're learning. Our teachers, I know, are getting more comfortable with the platforms. It takes a lot of help from the parents because, again, there needs to be that support in the home there, especially for the elementary students who are learning online. And in some situations, I know parents may not be as familiar with the technology as well. So we've got some resources online that would help parents if they will go online and look for those resources that can help. But definitely a challenge with Quest with the younger students, and we're taking a serious look at that, and as much as we can do to eliminate those challenges, we'll be doing that.
Looking ahead at the spring, Superintendent, what do you tell parents who are expressing concerns about whether their student will be able to stick with their teacher, whether they're in person or virtual?
That's going to be, a lot of that is going to depend on what happens between Monday, October 26th and November the 6th. How many students are going to return to in-person, or if you're in person, you're going to virtual. So it's a little bit difficult to answer that right now. We're going to do everything we can to minimize disruptions, but there quite likely could be a change in teacher for a student, or there could be courses maybe that might not be offered. But we're going to do the best we can to try to minimize all those disruptions.
Superintendent,
but there may very well be some.
Yes, no doubt. Only a couple.
Just like parents to work with us on that.
For sure. I know some students have this question. Is there any such thing as a snow day anymore?
We're going to be having conversations about that real soon, and snow days might look a little different since we're one-to-one. I think right now we would only have 2 days left that we could possibly use as snow days without having to make up days. So our intention, and we're going to have conversations in the next couple of weeks about that. But right now I'm thinking snow days might be somewhat a thing of the past, that they might become learning days. But again, you have to look at situations where power outages and things of that nature too. So if a storm was so severe that knocked out power, then obviously we couldn't provide instruction. So just to put students on notice, they may look a little different.
All right, that's fair enough. Lastly, only about 15 seconds, Superintendent. About a third of students are virtual in the fall semester. What might you guess that number would be in the spring semester?
There could be possibly, just looking at what's happened in other districts, there could be maybe 4,000 or 5,000 students return to in-person. If we looked at similar percentages as some other districts have seen. So my hope is that a lot of parents will just give this serious consideration, and if their child is not self-disciplined and highly motivated and the structure's not at home, please send them back to school, because we want to provide the very, very best educational opportunities possible. And that's not to say that our virtual teachers aren't providing that. They are. They're working really hard. But we've seen students not turn homework in. We've seen students not show up to class when they're supposed to in the virtual program. So it takes a lot of structure and a lot of self-discipline. So.
Superintendent Thomas, we are so grateful for your time on this Friday night, and our hats are off to you and to all the educators in Knox County. We salute you, and we will continue to stay in touch as we move forward with what happens in the springtime. Again, our thanks.
Thank you, John.
Also, this note to parents, again, if you are considering a change to your students' learning model this spring, enrollment does open on Monday. You can fill out an online form to make that change through November 6th, and Knox County Schools just updated its enrollment FAQ form online with information about schedule changes, course offerings, and a lot more. You can find a link right now at WBIR.com or through the WBIR app. And we appreciate you watching this special half hour of 10 News.